You're watching Talk with Audrey. Welcome back. Children achieve so many milestones in their first few years, but for parents, preparing for some milestones can be a little more stressful than others. One that often brings a range of emotions is, are you ready for this? Baby's first taste of solid food. My guest today is Dr. Whitney Casares, MPH and pediatrician, and she has some tips to help you transition your baby to solid foods. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Really appreciate you joining me. Yeah, that transition is a little tricky. At what age should parents start to transition their children to solid food?
So between 4 to 6 months is when most babies start solid foods. As a pediatrician, I never recommend that babies start before 4 months, but within that 4 to 6 month window, there's a lot of variability because every single baby is unique. I recommend that parents talk with their child's pediatrician who is going to be looking for signs of feeding readiness, like the ability to sit with support, good head and neck control, and then the baby's ability to swallow without pushing the food back out onto their chin.
Interesting. So there are some parents who, start to put cereal in the formula. Is that a yes or a no?
Well, actually, incorporating iron fortified cereals and also purees into early feeding is a really good idea. So, once you're actually ready to start solid foods, you could give a little bit of either of those things with breast milk or formula as part of baby's first taste. It might actually help them because they're accustomed to that taste of the breast milk or the formula. And those are a safe, easy, convenient way to get going. You want to make sure that when you're starting solid foods for a baby that they are sitting up, that you're watching them really closely. I love those two options because we know they're not a choking hazard. We want parents to be really careful about that, to pay attention and avoid foods like cherry tomatoes or grapes or nuts or raw foods. We want everything to be super soft for a baby.
And so, what's the first step to acclimate a child to new foods?
Yeah. So, number one for parents, a hangry baby is not going to be a baby who wants to start solids, right? So, giving them a little bit of breast milk or formula before, like in a bottle or feeding at the breast, before they actually start receiving the solid food is a really good idea. So, they have a little something in their tummy. And I want to clarify from your question previously, I don't recommend putting the iron fortified cereal or the puree into the bottle. I recommend mixing a little bit onto a spoon, and then you can feed it that way to baby.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense because how's the cereal going to get through the nipple anyway, right? I mean, what can I tell you? It's been a long time since I've done this. So, what types of foods do you recommend for the first taste of solid food?
Yep. We are interested in your baby feeding the rainbow. We want parents to offer a really diverse array of foods in that first 6 months of the baby's feeding journey. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, meats, those are important. It's also important to incorporate proteins and healthy fats. And the most essential thing is that the texture is appropriate for a baby's developmental age and stage. So that can be accomplished really easily, conveniently, safely through purees and through iron fortified cereals. But you can also use bite-sized chunks of really soft foods that you give a baby that they can easily pick up as well. You just want to make sure that you're looking for choking hazards and that they're not getting those small little bits as they're feeding. You also want to be thinking about, as babies are feeding, looking for kind of that yuck face and being a bit persistent, right? So as parents are starting, a lot of times they will give up really easily if a child makes a face that looks like they don't necessarily like that food. But it can take a minute. It can actually take multiple tries of a baby starting a solid food before they decide that they actually like it. So don't call uncle right away and don't feel like it's unsuccessful. It might just take a little more time.
Oh, that's funny. I remember those days. It's like if you don't, baby doesn't like it, okay, well, let's try this. Yeah, it was a pretty interesting phase. So, do you recommend baby led weaning or should parents just start spoon feeding pureed food?
Right. So I actually recommend something called baby led feeding. It combines the best aspects of baby-led weaning and of spoon feeding, the purees or the iron fortified cereals. And that just means that you are focused the most on the texture, that you're making sure that you're paying attention most to it being appropriate for your baby, as opposed to which individual way that you're feeding your baby, either them picking up that soft food or for them to use the spoon to puree feed. There's room for both for a baby. So we want diversity. We want the texture to be absolutely right.
All right. So, how do parents enjoy the process? I used to use the helicopter method and I'd sort of, go in for a landing. But what do you suggest?
Absolutely. A lot of parents do. So you are hitting on something that's so important, which is relaxing, trying your absolute best to put yourself in a position where you're going to be able to enjoy this as much as possible. For me, I know that's not going to be on a workday morning. That's going to be on the weekend. I know it's going to have to be a time where I'm not already stressed, where I can handle the mess that comes with feeding a baby, where I can really focus in and be in the moment with my child as opposed to distracted. And that's going to help you then home in on that diversity of flavors and then also those texture points that really matter. The other thing I tell parents in terms of enjoying is to make sure that you're looking to resources that are beyond you. I love the My Gerber experts. They have a whole team that has lactation consultants, that has registered dietitian nutritionists, that even has sleep consultants that are there to answer individual questions 24/7. And then also the Gerber Learning Center, which is an online resource that is meant to give support and answers at every single stage of the feeding journey, but then also of the parenting journey as well.
Cool, yeah. And you have to enjoy every minute of life, right? And when you have a child, enjoying those moments is just so important. You also brought back some great memories for me, so thank you. And guys, don't forget, you can go to the websites that she mentioned for more information and guidance. And don't forget to check with your pediatrician. And if you get frustrated, just chill. Maybe the baby's not ready yet. Dr. Casares, thank you so very much for joining me.
Thank you.